There is a point that the roles of parents and their children begin change. It is a long time spent raising them as a guide, leading them, and even giving up your time to support them. Then the next day, you discover that there's a change. Perhaps they don't listen to your suggestions, or they don't respect your views, or speak negatively to you, or worse yet, create a feeling of burden. This is a pain. If you've noticed that your children are giving you lesser respect than they should, and you're feeling angry and even angry, perhaps you'd like to be reminded of the good things you've done to help them, of your years put them before all others. The truth is that being angry will not fix the issue. It often causes more harm. There's a better way to earn their respect without fights, without argument, and with no resentment. This time, I'll give you 6 suggestions on what to use when your kids don't like your authority. They are powerful, that are essentially changes to your behavior to them that could completely change your perception of them. These might be surprising to the reader, but if stick around until the very end, you'll find out ways to return as an admired, as a valued and respected figure within their world. Now let's get started. First step, stop chasing their applause. One of the biggest errors parents commit, particularly when they get older, in trying to impress their kids. Perhaps you've seen yourself in this way. You make every effort to be accommodating. You say yes even, but you'd prefer to refuse. You put the needs of others before your own, in the hope that if you can make enough effort, they'll love them more. The truth is, the more you try to win your approval, the less respect they show the person you are. The way to earn respect isn't through sacrifice, but rather through self-esteem. If you're constantly bending to the side, never giving up, or trying to preserve your cool, what you're actually teaching your children is that feelings are in second. Once they begin believing that it's possible to let them take you to be a pity. I had a friend who was named Margaret, who was an extremely strong and confident woman during her earlier days. As she grew older, she began to let her children take all choices. She changed her schedule to suit the needs of her children, hid her views to herself, and was even oblivious to the ways they criticized her. "I'm trying to make sure that my family is close," she said to me one time. Then what did she say? Her children stopped valuing her. They viewed her as someone who was constantly adjust, never agree, but never talk. They thought she was keeping her quiet. However, the truth was that she was gaining her voice. If you have children who don't trust your authority, the first step isn't demanding it. The first step is to cease acting as you require to get it. Make boundaries, stop at times you must, or speak up regardless of whether they appreciate what you speak up. Since the minute you begin admiring yourself, others will begin thinking differently about you as time passes, and eventually this respect will be transferred back to you. Step 2. Avoid arguing and lead by example. When your children reject their opinions, argue with them, or behave with disrespect towards you. Your first reaction could be to fight, to make them aware of what you've done to insist to hear them. However, let me say an important fact that could keep you from years of frustration. Arguments don't work. Consider it, have you ever convinced someone to trust yourself by battling for respect? The way to earn respect is not through phrases, it's earned by your presence, the manner in which you conduct yourself, and through how you react when people try to make you feel uncomfortable. If you respond to disrespect with anger, what you're doing is affirming that they believe the power they hold over you. I had a friend known as Frank, an ex-teacher who was teaching with a sense of confidence. However, at home, his children, who were grown, began treating him as an unimportant thing. They ignored his suggestions or ducked his worries, and at times smiled when he attempted to make them right. In the beginning, he tried to argue in their direction, trying to show they still respected him. However, the longer fighting he engaged in, the more the situation became. One day, Frank made a change. Instead of being a nagging jerk with his friends, he started to listen. He stopped seeking respect through words and instead acted as someone who already was. He sounded calm and with a sense of wisdom, not feeling any desire to be a winner, the attention of his kids, who slowly began to notice. They could see a man that didn't need their applause, didn't require to show his worth, and who simply stood as a model of determination. If your kids aren't respectful of your values, don't fight because of it. Let them know what respect looks as by how you conduct yourself. Be confident, maintain your dignity and speak confidently, and foremost, don't lower your self-esteem to the level of others, since when you stand your feet with confidence, you will be noticed by others as they get older, and eventually they'll be following your example. If you're watching this video and are finding the tips useful, make a second comment to confirm that you're there. If you're not a subscriber already, I'd suggest that you sign up and then ring the sounder so that you won't be missing any video. We rely on your help to continue making great content to educate and motivate the people around you. Let's get moving. Third step, eliminate your emotional dependency. One of the most difficult lessons you'll have to master when you get older is the fact that you shouldn't rely on your children's satisfaction in their lives. They may be incredibly loved by you and would like they love and appreciate your in return. However, when they realize they need to be valued their worth, the power of the relationship changes. This is the truth. People, including your children, appreciate the ones who are independent emotionally. When you depend on them for approval or affection, that creates pressure for the person. Instead of feeling satisfied, the person starts feeling weighed down. They may withdraw, they could start showing you a lack of patience or even outright anger. If you keep chasing your heart more, the less readily they'll give the love. I had a friend known as Helen. Her mother was kind and caring, who gave everything to her children throughout their development. As they grew older and began to live their life, she would find herself waiting at the end of the line in hopes that they would call. In the event that they didn't call, then she rang them up, often and often. She explained how she misses them and also how she would love to see them more frequently. Instead of bringing the two closer, it drove them further away. They began seeing her phone calls as a burden rather than something to look at. A few days later, Helen did something different. Helen stopped waiting. The first time she called, she stopped. Instead, she began focusing on her own interests, acquiring new ones, and going out with her acquaintances and taking care of herself. Then something unexpected happened. Her kids started calling frequently. They were beginning to appreciate her time and seeing her as a person living a life that is her own. The message is clear. The less you count on your kids to help you feel valued and valued, the more they'll begin to appreciate the presence of you. If you demonstrate to them that you're able to make a stand in your own way and be independent, they'll begin to respect your independence, not out of obligation, instead, because they genuinely appreciate the lifestyle you've created for you. Action 4. Set limits and enforce these. One of the main reasons why children don't respect their parents is due to the fact that parents allow them to. If you permit your children be disrespectful to you or dismiss their opinions or behave like you aren't worth their time or feelings have any importance, they'll continue doing this, not because they're negative people, but rather because the people around them, particularly family, are always treating them the way you would like them to. The definition of boundaries shouldn't be a way to cut off your kids or creating tension. It's all about being calm and firm in choosing what type of conduct you'll and won't allow. It also involves enforcing the boundaries whenever they're crossed. I can remember a gentleman known as Robert, an entrepreneur, who had retired, who spent his entire life managing a business in a manner that was shrewd and committed. However, when it came time to his children, who were adults struggling, he fought. He was interrupted when they spoke, ignored his worries, and criticized the way he led his daily life. He initially accepted this and told that it was not worthy of the effort. However, over time he realized that each when he didn't speak and did not speak up, he was teaching his children that they were acceptable. One day, Robert altered his method of speaking. As his son yelled at his conversation, he sat down and said, "Continue speaking when you're ready to listen." In response to his daughter's dismissive view, he just said, "You don't have to agree with me, but I expect you to respect me." When the girls continued to test his boundaries, he stated clearly that if they weren't able to show him respect and dignity and respect, he would not be spending his time with them. What transpired? They began to listen. Initially, they were resistant, however. As time passed, they realized that their father didn't back from his position. They realized he believed in himself and deserved respect. As a result of that, they began providing their respect to him. If your children aren't respectful of your boundaries, you need to consider, are you accepting it? If you're not setting the boundaries, theirs will not set them on your behalf. If you're unwilling to stand on your own, nobody else can. If you're watching this video and find these ideas useful, then please make a comment on the 4th line below to confirm that you're there. If you're not a subscriber to our channel, yet I suggest that you sign up and then ring the sounder so you don't miss any of the videos. Thanks for your support. It helps us keep making great content to educate and encourage you. We must now move on. Stop giving out without acknowledging. One of the fastest methods of losing respect is to continually give money to those who do not recognize the gesture. Parents are more likely to do this than we are aware. We provide our time, our effort, and our love, regardless of whether it's appreciated, and even when it's considered to be a given, and even if we're greeted with only expectation. The truth is that if you offer your support to someone who does not appreciate it, you're not creating affection, nor do you build respect, but you do build expectations. The recipient stops seeing the kindness as valuable and instead start thinking it's something that they're entitled to. When you cease to show kindness, they aren't feeling happy. They're annoyed. I have known a person who was named George, a father, who always showed kindness towards his children. He was able to assist them financially when they required it, threw away everything for them, and even altered his lifestyle in order to meet their demands. Instead of being praised, his response was greeted by discontent. They did not say thanks, and they were expecting to receive more. The worst thing, in the end, when George needed help, they were busy. After a while, George made a change. He stopped extending himself too much. He stopped helping prior to even being requested, but most important was that he stopped refusing to help when he had to. Initially, his kids were angry. They couldn't know why he didn't bend over to help them. Over time, however, something was changing. The people began to value his time and began to appreciate his work because they realized his generosity was not unlimited. This was a gift, it wasn't a guarantee. If you're feeling that the children you have raised don't value the time you put into it, your efforts, or your compassion, take a moment to reflect. Check yourself to see if you are being more generous than you are. If yes, how would it be? Should you stop? If you can teach others that generosity is contingent on respect, they'll be more inclined to behave in this way. 6th step, create an independent life for them. One of the most effective methods to earn your kids' reverence is to prove that you don't have to be happy around your children. Parents are obligated to be devoted towards our children and to place them at the forefront of our daily lives. As we age, the dynamic changes. In the event that you've spent the majority of your life focused on these things, your family members may be thinking that you're somebody who doesn't have anything other priorities. They value those with the same goals, individual interests, and their own satisfaction. When your children realize they depend on you to satisfy your needs, entertainment, or meaning, they may begin to feel suffocated, or even worse, they could begin to see them as having an existence that is their own. I was acquainted with a lady named Eleanor. She was widowed, aged in her late 70s. Following the death of her husband, she was a huge part of the lives of her kids, checking on them constantly, offering the advice that they did not ask for, and expecting them be able to fill in the void that her husband used to fill. However, instead of drawing them closer, they pushed them further away. They stayed away from them, their conversations became more sporadic, and she felt most alone as she's never felt before. She made a decision. She began a book club, as well as began to travel with colleagues, and was a volunteer in a community center. Her children stopped being the focus of her life. Then something amazing occurred. The children began reaching further. They wanted to know more at what she was up to. They admired her freedom, and they admired her. If your kids do not respect you, think about this, whether they view yourself as someone who lives an active, fulfilling life, or do they view yourself as just a person waiting in the bushes, waiting for attention? Since when you demonstrate to them that you're living rather than just being there, they'll start to view yourself in a totally new light. If you're watching this video and are finding the tips useful, make a comment under number 6 for me to know that you're there. If you're not a subscriber to our channel yet, I suggest to sign up and turn off the alarm so that you don't miss a single video. The money you give us helps us keep producing quality content that will educate and motivate you. The last word. Respect isn't something you expect from your children. It's something that you can instill by the way you conduct your own life, the manner in which you establish boundaries, as well as the way that you conduct your daily, everyday life. If your kids have been giving you less attention more leniently, with less concern or less respect, avoid anger. Instead, shift your approach. Don't be a slave to their approval, since the less you require it, the less they'll offer the impression that they're not really interested in it. Set the example by your actions, since your self-esteem speaks far more loudly than your actions. Removing your emotional dependency, as the more confident you're and confident, the more people will respect your presence. Make boundaries for yourself, as the people you surround yourself with will respect you in the manner that you expect them to. Do not give gifts without acknowledging it, as when kindness is viewed as a given and is not appreciated, it diminishes in value. Also, you must create an independent life from those who give, since people appreciate the people with an individual purpose, as well as their own happiness and personal satisfaction. If you can do this, you will experience something amazing. Your children will begin looking at you in a new way, not as a person looking for attention, but rather as someone who is respected just by the person they are. In time, this respect will return to you not just because you asked for it, but simply because you have earned it. We appreciate you joining us this morning. We'd like to get to know you. Drop us a line below to tell us about one thing you've learned from today and how you intend to apply the information in your own life. Your ideas are very important to us, so don't be afraid to share them. If you want to share your thoughts with us, your feedback gives us a lot of motivation and inspiration. If you like this film and find it useful, please follow us on Twitter, and then spread the word. Thanks for your help in making great content to educate and motivate you. Thank you for your time, and we're looking for your participation on the next one.